The Anbernic RG Cube has been out for some time now. The square screen is the first thing you will notice. It's great for retro consoles, but how will this deal with widescreen consoles and handhelds? Let's find out in our RG Cube review. The RG Cube is available in 4 colours: beige white, radiant purple, black and grey. It measures around 6.0 by 3.3 by 0.7 inches and weighs 260 grams. The display is the standout feature of this handheld. It is a 3.95 1:1 aspect ratio touchscreen display with a 720 by 720 pixel resolution. This means it's great for true retro gaming resolutions that have a 4:3 ratio as it fills in more of the screen. On the front we have all of the usual gaming buttons, including Hall effect analogues. They have LED lighting around them which you can customise in the settings. There are 6 settings to choose from, and the chasing setting is my favourite as it follows your input. There are also 2 additional buttons in the bottom left area. The first brings up the Anbernic launcher and the second is a back button. Along the top are the shoulder and Hall effect triggers. There's a 3.5mm headphone port, micro SD card for additional storage, and a USB Type-C port for charging. And on the right side we have power and volume buttons. The back has a slightly textured surface for your fingers to provide some additional grip, and in the top area there is a grill for the fan. The RG Cube uses the same Unisoc T820 CPU found in the RG556. With the Mali G57 GPU, it makes for a decent mid-range performance on an Android handheld, as we will see shortly. There's 8 gigs of LPDDR4X RAM and 128 gigs of built-in UFS 2.2 storage. For communications there is Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5. It is powered by a 5200 mAh battery. We tested the battery life whilst running Antutu on a loop for the maximum performance. We got just over 4 hours, which is very respectable. For low demanding emulators, you can easily get 6+ hours out of the battery. We checked the fan noise and thermals whilst running Antutu on a loop. We got a highest fan noise of 55 decibels and a highest temperature of around 40 degrees C. For the system benchmarks, we are comparing the Cube with lower as well as higher priced handhelds to get a comparison of price versus performance. First in our tests is Geekbench 5. We see fairly close scores to the Anbernic 556 model, which uses the same CPU and GPU. We are looking at around mid-range performance, not far off the Retro Pocket 4 model. Overall, it's decent performance. Next is Geekbench 6, which we are now testing on all new devices. We see lower single core performance than others, but on multi-core we see almost identical performance as the Retro Pocket 4 model. Not bad at all. On Antutu, we see a bit lower than expected performance than the RG556 model. This could be down to benchmarking with different versions, for example, as the 556 model was last tested a few months ago. Our final benchmark is 3D Mark Slingshot and Wildlife Extreme benchmarks. We see good scores compared to the RG556 and Retroid Pocket 4 models, which we had hoped to see. Overall, good scores again. The RG Cube runs on Android 13 and has a bunch of emulators set up for you. We do recommend signing into Google Play Store and updating everything to the latest versions as well as on RetroArch. The Anbernic launcher can be accessed by pressing the button in the bottom left or from the drop-down menus. It will scan your micro SD card for games and place them into their respective consoles and computer categories. It's not perfect, but it's fast and definitely does the job. You can of course choose to load the individual emulators from the home screen and set them up that way if you wish to. You can also play Android games. I'm not a big Android game player, but I tried a few of my go-to games and they all worked fine. You do have the screen mapping software, which is very useful for games that do not have gamepad support. You simply map the game buttons to the area on the screen and you can use the controls to play the game. As always, we had no issues using their software. Video output to an external display is supported via USB-C. You can use a USB-C to HDMI hub such as our DROIX NH8 or NT8 models. Or if your display supports USB-C input, such as our PM14 portable monitor, then you can use a USB-C to C cable. The video will initially show in the square aspect ratio, but you can change to desktop mode in the settings for full screen display. We will show some older consoles later in the review, but for now we will concentrate on the more demanding emulators for handheld and consoles.
I'm ready for the fight. With the love inside, together we'll fly. Breaking through the barriers, reaching for the sky. Enemy to yeah. Sonic's on the run. Every twist and turn, our adventure's just begun. In the world of darks and thrills, a warrior stands tall. Chains and sunny, he's ready to give his all. Oh, Christ was the shadow, seeking redemption in the faintest light. A Olympian mind, power in his hands, against a raging storm. The Spartan always stands. Oh, the Anbernic RG Cube, where the classics come to life. Every game, every pixel. So we relive the joyous pride and the heart that dramatically
Let us know in the comments what you think of the Anbernic RG Cube. Do you like the 1:1 aspect ratio or prefer 16:9? Let's sum things up now with our final thoughts on the Anbernic RG Cube. The first thing we need to talk about is the screen aspect ratio. If you prefer your older 4:3 ratio consoles, then the RG Cube is perfect for gaming on. The games look great when upscaled and have matching bezels for many of the consoles and handhelds. For newer systems such as the PSP, you will have to play with a squash widescreen view unless you change the graphic settings, and once changed you have a fairly small viewing area as it adjusts for the aspect ratio. Realistically, this is only going to affect PSP, some PS2 and Vita games. We see very good performance considering the processor. Many PS2 games will run perfectly fine, but there are also some that have very poor performance. With Citra, we see the usual shaded cache lags on more demanding games, and with Vita, low demanding games run fairly well, but lags with more demanding games. And with Yuzu, only 2D games are going to be playable. The RG Cube is comfortable to play on. The textured grips on the back help to keep your fingers from sliding whilst playing. The size is not too bad. It can fit in a jacket pocket quite easily, and the battery life is a big plus here. Depending on the usage, you can get up to several hours. If the more retro side of emulation is your main purpose, say up to PlayStation 1 and Dreamcast, then the Anbernic RG Cube is a definite one to consider. It is best suited for this task with its 1:1 aspect ratio and great battery life for running the lower demanding systems. You can learn more about the Anbernic RG Cube and order yours today from us at DROIX. Use the discount code RGCube5OFF for 5% off on the checkout. The code expires 1 month from posting this review and cannot be used during store sales or other promotions. That wraps up our RG Cube review. We hope you have found it useful. Please like and subscribe if you have not already. It helps to grow this channel and you won't miss out on our next review. Thanks for watching and we will see you back in the next one.